U.S. economy grew 2.5% last year, staving off a recession. Is that the number I saw? 2.5%, 3% last year. Happy days are here again. It's odd. 75% of the people think their economic security is declining. Anyway, apparently all you have to do is just have full faith in the Fed and their manipulation of the market. Buy the Magnificent Seven stocks, sit back and watch the money pile in. Is that right? Well, let's ask Mark Kollar. He's the president of Kollar Insurance Services, LLC, host of Retirement and Income Radio, which airs on our airwaves Sundays from 11 a.m. to noon. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, so good to hear your voices, to be connected with you today. You were talking about, how people feel. There's an uneasiness that people feel. The problem we're running into is there's procrastination. We've got the best listeners in the city of Chicago. I'm absolutely convinced of that. They love their country, their spouses, they love their families, they work hard, they sacrifice. The problem is even our good listeners can put their heads in the sand sometimes and say, oh, well, we'll just wait, So Wall Street famously says, oh, just hang on and wait. The problem is the first 5 years before retirement and the first 10 years after retirement are the most critical times of their financial lives. Problem is we're running into people, they're calling in from our show, and they're 56, 58, 59. Some of them haven't paid it, saved enough. They don't have situational awareness. And you talked about the gunman, What do the policemen tell you when you're in training for concealed carry? They say you've got to have situational awareness. So in this case, they got to have financial situational awareness. So what we do in the show, we shake them up, we prod them a little bit, we give them ideas, solutions, we throw some stories in there, and then give some calls to action.
And so
everybody joins us, on Sunday.
So what are people waiting and not doing that they should not be waiting to do?
Well, they got to do. That's a very, very good question. So there's a couple problems. Okay. So, and I'm just going to touch on a couple of them right now. And one of them is paying too much in taxes. That's going to kill you in the long run. Sounds simple. There are simple things that can be done, but there has to be action. And literally, sign some documents with a pen can make a lot of these things, what I'm about to talk about, go away. Number two is excessive fees. Fees will kill you in the long run. And people don't think about it. They're too busy. They're running on the hamster wheel. They're blessing their families. They're running around. And they just don't see it and say, oh, my God, where am I? Or I'm too late. Third thing that can happen are black swan events. Those shootings you were just talking about, those are individual black swan events like 9/11, like COVID happened, right? Nobody planned that. They didn't put in their date book, hi, I want to get my head blown off today. But financial, black swan events, they happen. They actually happen. One of them is like sickness. There's a lady right now that's a client of mine in Northwestern Hospital. She fell down, banged her head. She doesn't know where she is. This lady was a top, I can't tell you who it is, but she had she had the life by the horns. And one black swan event happened, and she didn't have all the documents together. She had cash flow issues she didn't even know about. So, that's just one example. Here's another one. Lawsuits. Lawsuits can completely derail you financially, and no one puts that in their date book and says, oh, gee, was this the day I'm going to get sued because I turned left instead of right, the sun was in my eye, and boom. Maybe they're underinsured,
No one except Trump puts that in their date book. Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
What's that?
No one except Trump puts it in their date book. Yeah.
Well, okay, that guy is unbelievable. Okay, I've never in my life I have never seen anyone go straight forward like a locomotive through everything that guy's been through. They're trying to derail that guy left and right, up, down. That guy's a force in and of himself. So then that can get me going for hours just talking about him. But
can we go back to something?
Sure, go ahead.
You mentioned fees. What are you talking about? What kind of
Well, I
hidden
just got
fees
a call from a lady. So in a brokerage account, not only is she paying commissions for trades, allocation and owning the right stuff, that's a whole nother, that's a discussion. That's its own little black swan event as far as I'm concerned. So not only are they paying commissions for transactions, but they're paying a management fee. There's absolutely no reason for that. I mean, that is just like, what are you doing, So that's kind of, imagine having your car. Let's imagine you have a Corvette and your four wheels have half the air it needs to run. It can't go as fast. It's kind of, I know this sounds kind of strange as an analogy, but you have to be diligent. You actually have to recheck your financial situation like every 3 years. Just like you got to get your FOID card. You got to get that thing renewed, don't you? You got to pay your insurance. You've got to find out where you are financially. You cannot get from where you are to where you want to be until you know where you are. There's no chart you can use unless you know where you are. You can't get to that safe harbor that you're looking for. So that's one of the things we help them with, is find out what their point A is, right? And help them find out where they're trying to get to. But they got to get there in the most tax-wise way possible. And that means a meeting. There are many people right now that are listening that are uncomfortable. They got uneasiness in their gut. They know something's wrong. They're not sure what it is. They need to get rid of that financial cancer now before it eats them alive. So we offer a complimentary consultation. We review their estate plan. That's another thing that we didn't even talk about, estate planning. I mean, this lady that's in the hospital, she's got to have the right documents, so the courts get involved. All it takes is a pen and a few nice sheets of paper, and that's it. And the legalities in the system are actually there, believe it or not. There are laws there to help bless someone for these unseen events. So let me mention something else, long-term care. My father was in a wheelchair for over 20 years. He was the #1 periodontist in the United States. He was the first president of the Periodontal Society. He got a muscle disease, and that was it. He didn't put it in. He was a World War II veteran, the best hero I've ever met in my life. Didn't put in his date book, oh, boy, this is the last day I walk. Well, it happened, and all his sunny day friends left. Thank God he had he actually had 5 disability insurance policies, little tiny ones, but they added enough to, take care of, make sure he was at the house and not out on the street somewhere. So, and then we talk about another thing is portfolio imbalances. Like, well, what the heck is that? How much green money do you have? How much red money do you have? Red money is the money that goes up and down and up and down. The risk that you take, you have to take some risk or you're not going to make it. The ships are not made to stay in the harbor. They're made to sail. If you have money to invest, you need to do it, but you got to be prudent about it. That's the red money, the money that goes up and down over time. And Wall Street, famously says, oh, just hang on, it'll be fine. The green money is the money you can't lose. If you lose it, you're up a creek. So we help people put together, you could call them private pensions. Everybody loves their Social Security. Everybody loves their pensions. There's a way to bless and protect their financial situation for life. There's a way to do that, but you have to have both red money and green money. I know I'm talking my head off here, but
well, so I mean, just some in terms of some of the best practices. I mean, to categorize them. So balancing people's portfolio, that makes sense. You're talking about the relative risk and where you are in your life and your career. I mean, all that makes sense. That's pretty straightforward. And then and one of the things that seems to me you're keying on is people are underinsured, not just for black swan events, but maybe in terms of well, they're related, of course, but life insurance policies to make sure the family's taken care of, and just generally speaking, I mean, are those where you spend a majority of your time providing professional insight to clients?
Okay, that's just part of it. So when I say portfolios, the red money, the stocks, bonds, things that go up and down, and then the green money, there is insurance, side to that, to their entire portfolio. Mm-hmm. We set it up for them to win the game long term, that they can't even screw it up. We put, systems and people and institutions together to blend and kind of surround them, protect them from the, their what do you call it, the little caravans, that used to go out west, the covered wagons, right? So they need a holistic approach, but that can't happen until they know where they are. So let's back up for a second. They need help with taxes. They need help with fees, be protected from black swan events, wiping them out financially, lawsuits, long-term care, probate, portfolio imbalances, bad investments. You have to hit, there are good and bad investments, okay? But there are right and wrong investments depending on where they're trying to get to. So if you're 21 years old and you're putting all your IRA money in a CD, that's not really, that's a good investment, but it happens to be wrong. So we help them get good investments that are right given where they're trying to get to. So yes, insurance is part of this, but also stocks and bonds, managed accounts and ETFs and all that other stuff. My problem and what we're seeing is people are completely freaked out. Unless this COVID thing, I mean, people have gone into, they're like frozen. Not all of them, but they're like a deer in the headlights. Procrastination is what's going to kill them over time. We see people that have blown through like 10 years going, gee, I just had a lady the other day call in. Because, well, I think I got to get started here. I said, well, get some information. I can't tell you who she is, but 56 years old. And she just now wants to start saving money for retirement. I'm like, well, this is, if you guys could see, my wealthiest clients were 78 million. The lowest is 50,000. I've been doing this for 35 years. I'm a certified estate planning professional. I own a registered investment advisory firm. I'm a registered financial consultant. I've seen so many things, and I see these families from the inside out. I know everything about them. I know more than the families know eventually, because we have to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. So the show is, like I said before, giving them some ideas and prodding them a little bit, getting them out of procrastination. If they don't pick up the phone, we offer actually a retirement income book, a retirement income kit for them to, help them formulate that roadmap in their head so they can see what's available, understand a couple key things. Wall Street is like a fog bank, okay? So imagine you got a ship without a radar. You have to be able to see through the fog bank. There's so much information coming out of Wall Street, it'll just confuse the heck out of just about anyone. Then they freeze, they do nothing. Next thing you know, the market retraces, or there's some black swan event, and they're blown into the Stone Age. There are people, both of you guys, Dan and Amy, every listener knows somebody who got blown out either from 9/11 or 2008 or COVID wiped them out. They have to be proactive, just like that situational awareness. You have to have your concealed carry permit first before someone tries to break in your house. You already have to have the gun. You can't go, well, I think I'm going to get my FOID card today. Well, the front door's coming in, okay? So what do you have to do for financial situational awareness? That's what we do. We do an apples-to-apples comparison. And so they see where they are. They know where they should be and what they can do. After that, it's up to them,
Mark Kollar is the president of... Yeah, Mark is the president of Kollar Insurance Services, host of Retirement and Income Radio. That's on our airwaves Sundays at 11 a.m., 11 to 12, 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Mark Kollar, Retirement and Income Radio, again, Sundays, 11 a.m. to noon. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful weekend.
You too, Mark. Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I've just been doing great, and I just feel like it's a definite advantage to take them. Well, let me just say one other thing. I mentioned to my doctor that I was taking Balance of Nature, and they said they were very positive